When was that moment when you decided to bet on yourself?
Hmm. Well, I think, you know this, Sue, and probably the genesis maybe of your podcast here. I think leaders and individuals in their career are often faced with opportunities where they're betting on themselves, as you would say. And I think there was one moment in particular that, frankly, was probably most important to my career. And that was a time, it was the last of a very long process and series of interviews where the Wawa board of directors, about 12, 13 years ago, was actually a little more than that now, was selecting their next CEO. And it
Hmm.
was me and another individual internally. And they
The
had
chief,
one
chief
last,
goose? The chief goose. Is that who they were selecting?
that's right. Yep. Lead Goose.
Lead goose.
And so we had been through a process. They said there's one more interview, and they gave us a few questions to consider. One of those questions was, what do you do if you don't get this role?
Mm.
And as you would think in those types of situations, I'm bouncing off ideas off of coaches and people that I respect, other CEOs at the time. And the general advice was to tell them that you're going to leave, that you wanted to put pressure on the board to make them think, boy, if we lose Chris, that would be bad, and it should be a feather in his cap to getting the role. And I remember going to bed the night before, and it just stuck with me that didn't feel right to me. It didn't feel like who I was, because that really wasn't the truth. It was an organization I had been with at that point 15 years, a place that I loved culturally, values wise, was a wonderful fit. And so I literally changed the answer in the room when I was asked. And it was very different than I'm going to leave. It was, this decision that you have is frankly much more important than just myself and the other guy and what we do and what our careers are about. It's about a business that's been in place for 200 years at that point. It's about a set of employees and associates, as we call them, a culture and a values. It's something very special in the marketplace. Frankly, the decision of what I do or what the other guy does shouldn't really drive your decision. It's really about what's best for the organization, what's best for the future. And if I can play a role in that in any way, shape, or form, whether I'm chosen or not, that's what I want to do, because that's why I'm here.
Oh,
The answer
wow.
went something like that, but it was really, I think, as this goes, a bet on me being true to myself and my values, because that's how I felt.